courses, membership, group, or one-on-one? Which one should you offer and at what point? Or do you offer them all? Says someone who had created 11 different products over the course of 7 years in the business. Drop into the comment. Let me know what has your heart been calling you to do. Today we are going to talk about what exactly should you offer, and let's say you do want to have 3 clients by Friday. What is it that you need to do in order to get those 3 clients? If you're sitting there and wondering, maybe you should be creating a course because course is doing well and I can offer it at this price, and versus one-on-one coaching, maybe I need to offer at this price. But the truth is, like, a lot of coaches are struggling to get clients. So no matter what you offer, there's always going to require some work, right? The list goes on and on. Maybe if the course is too expensive for your clients, maybe the group coaching is not what they're looking for, or maybe the one-on-one is not something that they want. What about membership? Should I offer membership? So I was on the same boat when I started out this coaching business. I didn't know exactly what to offer, so I went with one-on-one. Now, I know this is true for a lot of you who's working a full-time job. Maybe you're tied to somewhere with a responsibility from Monday through Friday. And this is what one of my clients actually reached out to me, and then she said, Michelle, I would love to create a course because my schedule just doesn't work. And I love to put people into a program so that they'll go through it and I can do it on an autopilot from anywhere remotely. That was what my heart called me to do. I wanted to have a course where I don't have to spend Monday through Friday being tied down to something. And so that's why I created a course. But little did I know that the amount of work that you have to sell your course versus your membership and your group coaching and your one-on-one, it's the same. And if not, a little harder, right? So if you're in that first 1 to 5 years of your coaching business, and here are some of the things that would really encourage you to consider. First of all, is what's your audience size? Is it a big audience, small audience? And some of you may have come off and start with a larger audience. Whatever that work that you were doing previously, you just have a good amount of followers, and that would be great. But if you have a small size, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful, right? It just means that there is some work that needs to be done in order to sell the course or the membership or the group. So that's number one, what's your audience size? Number two is what you want to consider is something about your social media presence. Do you have an online presence? If you're going to offer this as an in-person, what is your presence in the networking event, networking group, right? Do you have any of these networking group that you continuously attend, you attend regularly, you connect with them regularly? Do you have a presence there? Whether it's in person or online, doesn't matter. Do you have a presence there? Do people know about who you are? Not necessarily about your brand, right? Because you're starting out, first 5 years, you're starting out, so you might still be new. They might not know about your business, but they probably know about you. So what's your presence there? The third question I want you to think about is if you're trying to figure out your messaging, that's going to determine whether you start with a course, a membership, a group, or the one-on-one. So if you're still trying to figure out your messaging, then you can probably already tell that I'm probably going to recommend you start shifting away from thinking about course, membership, and group, right? Because if you're in that figuring out phase, what's going to happen is you think, I want to create a course to offer my audience or my client this. But then as you're changing your messaging, you might need to go back and changing your entire course, your membership, and your group offer. So the third question that you want to consider when you're thinking about which one is right for me is, am I still trying to figure out my message? Do I have that message clarity? If you don't have that message clarity, meaning that I don't really quite sure, who my audience is. I know, but I don't know for sure. I don't know exactly what they want. and I'm confused in terms of what to create. If you're at that point, then I would definitely recommend to shift away from the course and the membership. Group coaching, maybe we can talk about that in a minute, but I would definitely shift away from the course for sure, because then you're spending all this time doing the recording modules, you're doing your video training, and then you find yourself having to go back and change everything and re-record everything. And that just takes a lot of work. And it's not easy to do all these recording that you have to turn on the video, you have to do the recording, you have to make sure that you cover all the talking point that you're trying to cover. So it just takes a lot of work. So the three questions I want you to consider are these, okay? And let me just repeat. Number one is your audience size. What is your current audience size? Is it big or is it small? If it's small, that's okay, because it just means that you have the opportunity to grow. So if you have a small audience, it's actually a great way to build your audience up. So no matter which one you're going to offer, don't let the size of your audience stop you from creating it. Now, the second question is going to determine whether or not it becomes an easier sell, right? When you have this offer, you created something beautifully and you want to hand it to the person who's going to receive it. You want to have somewhat a trust that was built. And how do you build that trust? Either it's a social media presence or it's an online in-person presence. Someone knows you, who you are in that place. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to know your business. They just need to know you in order to trust you. So you can do that either in person or online. The third question that you should consider before you go jumping and creating all this is to think about where you are on this journey. Are you just within that first, like maybe up to 3 years mark, and you're trying to figure out, you're testing the water, you're trying to come up with an offer that actually makes sense and people wanting to sign up and buy? If you're in that beginning stage, I'm just going to call you beginner. If you're in that beginner stage, then you don't want to jump into the course and creating a membership, because then you end up going back, and this is exactly what I did. I end up going back and change it a few times, right? Re-record all my training module, because now my message, my avatar has shifted, and that it's completely no longer aligned with what I'm offering now. So I would encourage you to put that thought on a hold if you're thinking about creating the course. Now, we talked about the three questions that you should be asking before you think about what to create. The next question that you have is going to be, okay, now I know that course, membership, and group, I know that these are probably not right for me. What do I do next? I really don't have the time to do the one-on-one. Drop into the comment if you're busy, if you have a busy schedule, and the only time you have available is actually just on the weekend. If that is you, listen, I hear you and I know what it feels like, okay? And you might not even be able to do like discovery call during the weekday. Monday through Friday, you're busy and you just can't be on a coaching call or jumping onto a call or letting your boss to find out. So where I would start is I would 100% encourage you to start with your one-on-one coaching. I know it takes a lot of you time. I know it takes a lot of your availability, and it depends on your availability in order to get those coaching clients, and maybe the schedule doesn't work out. But the reason why one-on-one is so much easier to sell is because now I can get into a conversation and talk to that specific person, and knowing that this is what this person is struggling with, and walk that person into my one-on-one coaching program so I can customize my approach, my methodology, and I can test it out with this person as we're going through this one-on-one support together. So think about your one-on-one as a place where you can test out your course material. It would be a place where you understand your client better so that you can create a membership to bring people together. So I would encourage you, if you're just starting out and you want to jump into creating that course, put that thought for a minute and just start offering the one-on-one. The one-on-one is going to give you the clarity in terms of, okay, I have so many clients struggling with this particular area. Maybe, right? Because I'm repeating the same stuff with this client, with that client, with this client. So if you start seeing patterns and repetition, then that would be your clue for creating a course. See where I'm getting at with this? So you start with the one-on-one, okay? Get a couple of clients in, get those information, know exactly what you're going to offer and how you're going to help them, and what are some of the things that they're looking to have. Maybe they want some goal setting session, and you end up talking to 10 different people wanting the same thing, like goal and orientation session. Or maybe it's organization or setting up their vision. And that will give you some clue in terms of what type of course that you can create in the future that you can sell to clients who struggle with the similar problems and issues, right? So then you can invite them to your course. So start with the one-on-one, and the one-on-one is easier to sell because you're talking to that one specific person, knowing what that person is looking for. Then you can offer your one-on-one service with them. Now, once you do the one-on-one, and I'm not saying that this is something that I highly encourage to do and to have it in your business structure, is once you have enough one-on-one, and what would that look like? That would probably look like at some point you're going to come back to Michelle and say, Michelle, my schedule is so tight. I can no longer serve 5 clients per day. A lot of coaches tell me when I ask, how many clients would you like to serve? And they come back and they say, I would like to have 20 clients per week. I'm like, that's a lot. And if you're serving 5 clients per day, that's a lot of client that you have to go through, and it's a lot of energy. Like imagine sitting in the session, and what if someone walked in and it's a heavy energy session, right? Then what do you do? So at some point you're gonna come back and say, okay, Michelle, I don't want to do one-on-one anymore, or my time, my schedule, I want to have more me time. I would probably like to have maybe 2 clients or 3 clients per day, or just do 2 clients per week. Then we can talk about, okay, so now you're at that point where you have more information, you know what your clients are looking for, then you can create the course or you can create the membership. The difference between the course and the membership is that membership sometimes, so it's a monthly basis. Some of you might be able to offer that, especially if you have something that's consistently repeatable and that you can offer throughout the month. Those would be great for a membership. The course is more structured, like you're actually teaching something, right? Maybe it's a mindset work, how to do more creative thinking. For example, let's say you're teaching people how to organize their life, organize their time, doing time management, and these can be a little more structured and that you can create and put it into a course. A membership is some where you invite someone to join, and maybe it's a monthly coaching call. Maybe it's where you do things together, like a retreat, right? Something that you do regularly. So it's less structured. So typically you see membership for people like a little more advanced stage, right? This is sometimes you'll hear mastermind. Mastermind would be something like that, where people are at a different stage in their life and they're coming together and they have a shared mission and goal. So it's less structured. Can you combine the two together? Yes, absolutely. You can actually do the course as well as the membership, and it becomes a little more complex in terms of what does your member get. And that's something that we can talk about and structure it out in the future. If you'd like me to do an episode, also let me know. Okay. But in the meantime, that's the difference between the course and the membership. Now, the difference between the group and the one-on-one is the group, right? Because you have so many people. And this is also another question that came up from one of my clients, is that she doesn't want to do one-on-one because her schedule just does not allow her to serve clients on a one-on-one capacity. So the best way and the most lower bar for your audience to cross might be the group coaching offer, right? But how do you structure the group coaching offer? Very easy. So as we know, people may walk into your session with different problem, different issues. If you're doing life coaching, particularly, there's maybe someone is struggling with more of a negative self-talk. There's another person who's struggling with relationship problem. So you end up in a group coaching session, you have all these people coming to you, but remember we have worked. So if you had participated and joined me in my visibility challenge, we had talked about how to identify your niche and your avatar and your target audience, right? And remember what I said about what is the point of selling. The selling is so they can do what? Guess what? It's going to come back again to haunt you here because the so they can do what is probably going to be a great thing that you structure this group. Maybe it's so you can be more organized. That's it. That just use that as an example. So I want to offer a group coaching where I can help and serve my clients so that they can become more organized. So my group coaching program is going to be helping you to stay organized and so that you can make more room for X, Y, and Z. Okay, so that's say that is the program that you're going to offer, and you're going to fill that group. Now, once they come through and join your group, like I said, there's going to be people who are struggling with the negative self-talk and therefore they don't feel that they're organized. And there's going to be people who have so many clutter in their life, right? Whether it's relationship or family issue, they just don't know how to stay organized. So they come in with different problems, but they're all in your same group. How do you do this? Is the same idea that you have with a one-on-one. Now I'm just going to do a hot seat coaching. Now, putting hot seat coaching in the comment down below, hot seat coaching. That's where the hot seat coaching comes in because now you can invite someone to say, this week, we're going to focus on organizing your schedule. Okay, so raise your hand if you have question or problem or what has been some of the challenge, so you'll get your clients to participate in those discussions. What's stopping them from being organized, what's holding them back, right? Now you're going to have individual who's going to raise their hand inside a group setting. You're going to coach that person while everybody else are listening in, right? And they're going to learn, oh, they may have an aha moment. I didn't realize this is what I had too. And they're going to raise their hand. So it's a little different than your one-on-one coaching because it has somewhat of a structure, but not really, because you're allowing your client who joined the group coaching to come in and to raise their hand and do hot seat coaching. And some people like that, right? Some people actually like the group environment, so that I'm not sitting there across the hall or across the Zoom with my coach. And some people like the dynamic because it's more fun, it's more energized, right? They love being in a group. Others, they like the one-on-one. So potentially you could have both. Now, here's what I would encourage you to do is, I know everything is going to draw revenue and I know everything is going to make your business very prosper, but you don't have to do everything all at once. Okay, especially if you are new, it is so hard from personal experience that I can tell you to, it's so hard and it's going to be so confusing for your audience to know exactly what you're offering. So if you are sitting here and you're wondering what to offer, but you don't have a whole lot of clients just yet, I would encourage you to focus on offering the one-on-one. And that should be in all your social media copy, all your content creation, everything that you're going to promote on week to week, day to day basis. Focus on the one-on-one offer. Talk about it like there's nobody's business. Okay, you wanted to talk about what you do in your one-on-one coaching, how you're helping them to do, like it's nobody else's business. And that's how you start filling your bucket. This is your first bucket. You fill your bucket with the one-on-one, and your next step, it could be a course, it could be group coaching. If you need a map, I'm giving you a map. Okay, so you start with the one-on-one, and your next step could be a course, or it could be the group coaching that you do. Because now, in order to serve more audience, more clients, your one-on-one time is limited. So when you are up to that point where you no longer can serve all these clients in a one-on-one capacity, then you can offer either put them into a group. Instead of doing one-on-one, you can coach them in a group setting. And if you see repetition of things that people keep asking about, and this is what they need, now you can design and create a course. But you don't want to do everything all at once because it does take a lot of work. And what happens when we feel overwhelmed leads to lack of action. Overwhelmed leads to no action, right? We're sitting there thinking, oh, I got to create and I got to record this class. If you ever wonder, Michelle, do you just offer the course? No, I don't. I have all these other alternative to meet clients where they are. And this has to do with the journey that you're taking your clients on, which we're not going to be able to cover in this session, this talk, but I have that on my calendar, on my schedule to talk about. We need to talk about your client's journey. How do you help them? How do you support them? So if you're beginning, especially in the first to 5 years, like even for the coaches who I know for years and years, and they're making like 7 figure, 8 figure, they're still offering the one-on-one. Your one-on-one is probably going to be your foundational. If you need a pricing video, I do have a video on the pricing. So just drop into the comment price and I will tag you to that video on how do you price the one-on-one. Pricing could be a little tricky because you don't want to price it too low, but you don't want to price it too high either, right? You don't want to undersell yourself for the work that you do because it does matter, but you also don't want to offer everything. Then what are you going to do in the course and membership? That's something that a lot of coaches don't think about, right? You offer all these things, but then by the time you're ready to offer a membership and course, you're running out of stuff to offer. I know you love your audience just like how I love all of you, but you got to structure it out and maybe they're not ready for everything yet. We talked about why you might need this. We talked about how do you know the best choice. Basically, you sit down and you think about what would best fit your lifestyle. Every single one of us have different lifestyle. Like I still work full time, right? I have a full-time job and I do this full time. So in order for me to do this, I need to come up with a way that allows me to serve my one-on-one clients, but also have income that's coming in, right, through my course to my group coaching. So you'll see me offering these, but I didn't just jump into the group coaching and the course. I started with my one-on-one. Like I said, I was that someone who was serving 5 clients per day. That was terrible. That was horrible. I didn't have a life because then I feel like my schedule is being tied to someone else, to my clients, and I need to show up for my clients. And sometimes by the time I finish my session, I'm just drained. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. So I totally get that if your heart has been calling, the course and membership has been calling you, I totally get it. I understand it. But we have to get you started, right? To get you started, I would encourage you to consider doing more one-on-one and focus and talk about your one-on-one like it's nobody's business. And once you get to that point where you're ready to create the course, then you can get all these information that you have learned throughout the years from your one-on-one client to put them into a course, a program. Because once you have the course membership and group, right now you have to think about how to market it. And the way that you market it is very different from the one-on-one conversation. This is where your list building, your funnel start to come in, and it start to get really complicated very quickly. So to wrap up, what I'm saying here is eventually you're probably going to have all of these in your business at some point, and I would encourage you to do so because a business is not sustainable just on the one-on-one. The one-on-one is a lot of you time. Eventually, you need to shift away from that. What I'm saying is, at this point, look at, do you have enough clarity to put the material into a course and a membership? Are you still shifting and changing your niche, your messaging? If so, start with the one-on-one or the group coaching because then that will allow you to gather those information and still serve your clients in a very intentional and very present way, right? Because you show up for your clients. So group coaching and one-on-one will be a good start. If you're someone who's tied, your schedule is tied from Monday through Friday, then think about the group coaching. And the way that you structure that group coaching, you can still have the free flow. But remember, right, the niche and avatar work that we did together, so they can do what? That might be your answer to what are you going to do inside that group. Okay? All right. Those of you who's been wondering, like, Michelle, do you offer one-on-one? Do you offer group coaching? I do. If you like my support, if you want more deeper support and you're not really into taking course with me, totally okay, totally understandable. Go check out that link and I do one-on-one and I do group coaching. So go check it out. What I'll do this week if I need 3 clients. Remember, think about who you've been talking to, your network, offer them the one-on-one. Talk about it like it's nobody's business. If you go back and look at your Facebook thread or your social media thread, how many people actually know what you do and how many people actually know what you are offering? Just pick that one thing that you want to get clients in, talk about it day in, day out, like there's no tomorrow. Because that is going to get you the 3 clients by Friday. And I will see you all next week. Bye.
You are my bread and love, baby. You are